And now, Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick!
And after that would be Stranger Things, but Top Gun Maverick going first of all. Oh, sorry.
But we are doing Top Gun Maverick now.
Top Gun Maverick!
Yeah, Top Gun Maverick first, and Stranger Things.
Which was funny once, but it's good. So, I imagine that most of the people here are old enough to have seen Top Gun in some form, you know, probably in the cinema when it came. How many of you saw it in the cinema when it came out? Okay. So Top Gun is one of those weird things in which I never liked Top Gun particularly. I mean, when it came out, it was like, it was not a film that was made for me. You quoted this thing about Tom Cruise saying that making a sequel to Top Gun, which was unbelievably successful, I mean, huge hit, I mean, brilliantly directed by Tony Scott, you know, a film which was epochal whether you liked it or not, and massively successful. And Tom Cruise said this thing about making a sequel to Top Gun is like hitting a bullet with a bullet. And it's an interesting phrase because it implies two things. Firstly, that there is an incredible degree of precision about it. But secondly, that there is an incredible degree of repetition about it. And the opening of Top Gun Maverick, burnished sky... She's going to make this very hard. Burnished skies, planes going off aircraft carriers, and Kenny Loggins doing, you know, danger zone. Apparently it's a new version, but it sounds exactly the same to me. And then it cuts to Tom Cruise, now a test pilot working in the Mojave Desert, but looking exactly the same as he did in 1960. He's got the same, you know, his face is the same, his body is the same. I mean, he's sleeping in a fridge. There's a scene where they do kind of, you know, topless beach sports, and it's like, wow. And he's still got the shades, he's still got the jacket, he's still got the thing, everything about him. And so the opening sequence, he's also still got the need for speed. Opening sequence is a sequence in which he has to hit Mach 10, which is ripped completely off of The Right Stuff. And I love The Right Stuff. The Right Stuff is a great film, but hey, they just fine, we'll do the thing, we'll do him doing the Need for Speed. Ed Harris comes along, says, very, very bad, you're terrible, you never obey rules, Maverick. Can't do it because I didn't say the whole thing. You never obey rules, Maverick, and you should be fired. But, in fact, we need you to go back to the Top Gun program in order to be a teacher, because we have this mission which involves getting the best of the best, our young recruits, somebody being able to teach them how to blow up a uranium enrichment plant whilst traveling at face-melting velocity in a really, really complicated thing, almost impossible. Nobody can do it, but if anybody can do it, then Tom Cruise's Maverick can do it. He says, I'm not a teacher, I'm a fighter pilot. I figure he can probably do both. The emotional heart of the piece, and I use the phrase heart, you know, advisedly, is that one of the recruits is Rooster. Rooster is the son of Goose, famously cooked in the first film.
Very good.
I was really pleased with that. I'm sure somebody else has used it. And Maverick has always blamed himself for this. So he's in a dilemma. He's in the horns of a dilemma that he is trying to not let history repeat itself. And consequently, it does turn out that he's been basically thwarting Rooster's career because he promised that he'd keep him safe.
I'm not going to make the same mistake.
So that's
Can I just
kind
say,
of...
Miles Teller, when he was on the show, he said that was one of the audition scenes that he did. So that was what he had to do with Tom Cruise many years ago, and that's one of the reasons why he got it. And he looks so much like...
As you said, he literally looks like he could be the character that he's meant to be playing. So I went into Top Gun Maverick with fairly little emotional baggage, other than I saw a paper, an academic paper once, when somebody did a really brilliant analysis of Top Gun as a musical, and they were talking about how the planes are basically the dancers, and it was a really interesting kind of analysis of how Top Gun worked. And then I'd had discussions with other people about the politics of Top Gun and how it was a recruitment video and how, you know, there was, you know, Navy stalls put up in the foyer of cinemas because it was recruiting afterwards. And then you watch Top Gun Maverick, and you go, okay, despite all the reservations I have about this, it's really good. And believe me, nobody went in with less kind of, you know, pre-packaged desire to enjoy it as I did. But the reasons it's good are multiple. One of them is the flight sequences are absolutely jaw-dropping. I mean, they've talked a lot about how what they were doing was they were shooting real flying rather than, you know, green screening everything. And you really get the sense that, firstly, that you've got actors in cockpits of planes that are doing unbelievable things. But equally importantly, they're edited in a way that makes sense. I mean, we've all seen stuff that is spectacular, but you go, okay, fine, but it's just a whole bunch of stuff happening. It looks physical. It looks like a choreographed dance, which is why I mentioned that thing about the academic paper before. And those scenes are really, really thrilling. The second thing is the emotional beats are absolute. I mean, you could stop the film about a third of the way through and go, okay, write me the plot for the rest of it, and you'd get it right. What you wouldn't get is the machine-tooled way in which the film hits all the emotional beats. And one of the things I love about cinema is when it makes you react contrary to what you want to do. Watching Top Gun Maverick, I laughed, I gripped the edge of my seat, and at one point, to my eternal shame, I found myself crying at an emotional bonding scene between two people chewing the scenery, and I think it's got under my skin. It works.
Is that a Val Kilmer moment you're talking about?
No, I thought the Val Kilmer moment was very moving.
I wondered if that was when you were crying.
No, it wasn't. It was later on. No, during the Val Kilmer moment, I thought, this is interesting. They've judged this really well, because that could have been... It would have been really easy to get that completely wrong, and they didn't. I thought they judged that really well, and the cinema that I was in, there was absolute hush during that scene, which I thought was done really well. I love Jennifer Connelly. I think she has a fairly underwritten role as the sassy bartender who's sort of the love interest in the absence of Kelly McGillis, who apparently wasn't invited to this particular party. But in the end, it works because, like the jets, it's a spectacular piece of machinery, and I don't say that in a bad way, because I love fairground rides, I love carnival rides, and I love them when they do the thing that they're meant to do. And I went into Top Gun Top Gun Maverick with no emotional involvement, and it got me in the feels. It was pulling at my heartstrings. I was a little bit in love with Tom Cruise in a strange way, because it was just like, how are you so... He does this thing with his face, which obviously I can't do, but he moves bits of his face around, and little parts of you die inside.
And he's 60 in July.
It's just, which is just terrifying. So it did the thing, and it really was one of the movies that says to you, this is why going to the cinema is different from sitting at home watching Netflix. I mean, I saw it on an IMAX screen, and if you're going to go and see it, and everybody will, it's going to be a massive hit, isn't it? It's going to be huge. Go and see it on the biggest possible screen, turned up loud. And because it's a spectacle. It is a mechanical spectacle, but just because it's mechanical doesn't mean it doesn't get under your skin. And in the end, I just went, okay, I give up. I like it.
Yes, it is a fantastic film.